Okay, so I've been struggling with my electronic center diff lock on the 80 series, and especially with the LS swap, because I'm using a standalone ECU, so the factory ECU is gone, and there's a little electronic module that you can rewire and get these to work, and other people have done that successfully, and that didn't work out for me. I ended up screwing something up. I think one of my switches got stuck and it burned up the motor. So I needed it for a hunting trip. So I did a quick little dirty MacGyver fix on it. I just pulled the motor cover off and smashed the magnets out of it and cut a little hole in it so that now I can, I needed for the trip, I could just turn the motor by hand. It's a worm drive, so it kind of takes forever, but you can get underneath the truck and go ahead and turn this and lock and unlock your center diff instead of maybe having this completely removed and just turning it by hand. There's a little gear that drops into the transfer case, and that's a pretty quick rotation. You can turn that, but I didn't want mud and dust getting in there. So I found this product from a company called Kayapoi Repowers out of New Zealand, and these guys make a pretty cool product. It's air actuated center diff lock, so this drops in place of this gear, and it works similarly to like an ARB air locker. So try not to drop everything here, but you apply power, air to one side and locks, and you apply air to the other side and unlocks. So pretty cool unit. I'm pretty stoked on it just to have something super simple that just drops in place of the factory one. Running some airlines. I've already got onboard air. So it's just a matter of throwing in another air actuator and another set of switches to lock and unlock this thing and just not deal with the electronics on it anymore. Just to show you guys kind of how this works. So here we have the factory center diff lock with all this wiring and junk. So this comes off, and it's got a little gear that it spins here with an electric motor, and that's what locks and unlocks your center diff. So you pull that off, you pull this little gear out, and you can see that this has the same exact gear machined onto it, and it just drops into place. You hook up your air actuator, and now you've got diff lock and unlock using air instead of the silly electronics. So I've already got the Sumo overdrive gear kit in this. With the LS swap, I wanted lower RPMs on the highway, get a little bit of better fuel economy. I've got all the power in the world with the 5.7 liter LS1. And I put this all back together. I'm having some problems with the transmission, but also my transfer case was super loud, so this thing needs a rebuild more than I thought it did. So this is coming out. We're going to put the air actuator on it and get the whole thing completely rebuilt. The 4L60 that I had, I kind of went cheap on the rebuild and had some unknown shop do it, and it's shifting really hard into first and from first to second gear. The torque converter's not locking out, and the guy gave me a 1600 stall torque converter, which just isn't optimal for this motor, and I didn't really realize how huge of a difference that torque converter was going to make. So I just ordered a Circle D 2800 stall torque converter with a billet plate and triple disc lockout and all the fancy schmancy stuff. And we'll get this rebuilt and get it put back together and start roasting those 37-inch tires we got on this thing. Okay, so here I've got my brand new Circle D 2800 stall high-end torque converter. This thing was a pretty penny. It's built to be pretty bulletproof. It comes with its own hardware and a shim kit to set your spacing. You want 1/8 inch to 3/16 spacing off of the flywheel for this thing, and then it's also got a billet end on it. And I guess the problem with running high power through like the factory torque converters is these plates will actually flex, and as it flexes, your distance between the transmission and the motor where it engages shrinks, and it can put pressure on your crank, and you can prematurely wear crank bearings. So this guy at 2800 stall, this is what they recommended for my weight of vehicle, for my gearing, for my tires, for the motor and the horsepower that I'm running. And this will allow me to put power to the ground immediately. So this thing's going to hook up. It starts hooking up earlier. The drivability is fine as far as street usage, but when I really romp on it, it's going to go ahead and jump up to around 24, 26, 2800 RPM and engage the transmission there. So roasting 37s will be much easier than the 1600 stall that I had on there previously. So far, it seems to be a really solid unit. I hope it is. It better be for the price I paid for it. But that should be a huge performance upgrade for this thing. I'll put the link for this exact model for the 4L60 in the description for the video, as well as the link to the website for this air actuator for the center diff lock. So if you guys are having center diff lock issues, or you just want something that's bulletproof that's going to last forever, I mean, this thing is sweet. It's a nice machine piece, seems to work really well. If you already got a air compressor on board, it's not a big deal to go ahead and throw another switch on there. I've got a two-way switch that I bought for this that I'm going to open, that I'm going to wire up, normally open, so it's got air for the unlock position all the time. And when I engage the switch, it'll go ahead and lock and keep it in the locked position. And then when I turn off the switch again, it'll go ahead and unlock it. So I'll put the link for the two-way air actuator to run this thing as well. So if you guys like the content, I'm trying to pump out videos whenever I can, as well as working on this thing and having a family and a full-time job. So like and subscribe, and let me know what other stuff you guys want to see on the LS swap or the 80 series.